At the start of this year, I made a video talking about what are my favorite Pokemon from every generation. It was kind of a way of looking back at some of my favorite Pokemon without redoing a top 10 favorites video. But looking back at that video got me thinking about what are my least favorite Pokemon from every generation. Because I'm a pretty negative person. And since it's been almost 2 years since I uploaded my top 10 least favorite Pokemon video, today I'm here to recap at some of the Pokemon I hate and list off my least favorite Pokemon of every generation. As I say in every single video, these are just my opinions, so make sure to leave yours in the comment section below and I would love to read them. If you happen to enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like to show your support, share this video with a friend and subscribe for future videos. Also make sure to hit the bell icon to enable notifications so you never miss out on new videos. But with all that being said, let's get started. So, starting off with Generation 1, the most amazing and nostalgic generation. Just kidding, I hate it. Anyway, starting off the list, my least favorite Pokemon from Generation 1 is probably Muk. In my top 10 least favorite Pokemon video, Charizard was at the number 5 spot while Muk topped the list at the number 1 spot. My hate for Charizard and another contender, Dugtrio, has greatly increased since then, and I found it extremely hard to choose between these three for this video. Wow, that was a lot to say in one breath. But I feel I've talked about Charizard way too much in recent times and Dugtrio is just irrelevant, so I figured I'd pick Muk for this spot. Also, talking shit about Charizard will probably get me lots of hate, so like, I guess let's just go with Muk. I feel Muk is so stupid, it's just a pile of toxic waste. And that in my opinion isn't the best idea for designing a Pokemon. But I would be completely fine with the toxic Pokemon if they designed it well. But a lot of, or rather a majority of my hate for this Pokemon comes from Gen 1ers. I hate how Gen 1ers always shit on Generation 5 for having terrible Pokemon, usually hating on Pokemon like Vanilluxe and Garbodor to justify their claims. You can argue that Garbodor is just waste on garbage and it's a stupid concept and I'll have your opinion. But you cannot use that to downgrade Generation 5 or even this Pokemon itself. I just had a voice crack, shit. Yes, it is a dumb concept, but at least Garbodor has some elements that add to its design and make it a little more interesting rather than just a pile of trash with eyes. On the other hand, Muk is exactly that. Muk is just a pile of junk with eyes. What makes things worse is how Grimer, its pre-evolution, is exactly the same thing with different eyes. This evolution line did not take an ounce of creativity. And I hate how Muk is never brought up while talking about bad designs. This Pokemon deserves way more criticism than it actually receives. Some other Generation 1 Pokemon that I hate are Charizard and Dugtrio. I've already talked about Charizard so many times on the channel, so I do not want to repeat myself. And I hate Dugtrio for the same reason as Muk. The evolution line does not take any creativity, and it's never brought up while talking about badly designed Pokemon. Moving on to my least favorite Pokemon from the generation that was actually my introduction to the Pokemon games. I've said this before, but I dislike the Johto anime. I don't hate it, I just dislike it. And my least favorite Pokemon from this generation is this thing. While I still don't mind the Johto anime, I cannot for the love of Arceus bear to watch any episode that features Snubbull in it. First of all, just look at it. It does not look like the friendliest of things out there. Bulldogs aren't my favorite dogs, though I still love dogs to no limit, including bulldogs. It's just that if you ask me which dog breed I would like to own, a bulldog wouldn't really be my first choice. In fact, it would probably be one of my last choices. But one of the main reasons why I hate Snubbull is because of this piece of shit that showed up in the Johto anime. This Snubbull that belonged to that Much Money character is so annoying. You might remember her, the Snubbull that chased Team Rocket's Meowth trying to bite his tail. I know it was just a running gag for comedy, but the combination of me not liking Snubbull in general and the Snubbull being so annoying just wasn't very nice. This is not what a dog-based Pokemon should look like. And compared to some of the other dog and hound-based Pokemon out there, Snubbull gets completely outclassed. Also, I don't get why Snubbull is a fairy type. What were they thinking? How this piece of garbage gets the same typing as Gardevoir is just beyond me. Honorable or dishonorable mentions from Generation 2 would probably be Sunflora because its design is very unoriginal. It's just a sunflower with a face and True Green 7 has done a great job explaining it. Secondly, I want to talk about Unknown. I don't know how to pronounce its name and I really don't give a shit. I hate it because it's literally useless in every aspect I can think of. It annoys me just thinking about the amount of time I spent trying to catch all of the forms, which, let me tell you, have absolutely zero significance in the games. Coming in for Generation 3 is Pelipper. I hate Pelipper for pretty much the same reasons as everyone else does. Pelipper is probably the most annoying thing in the entirety of Hoenn. This thing is freaking everywhere, and it has an extremely high encounter rate in all of the locations that it's found. You can make the same argument for Zubat and Golbat in Generation 1, but at least Zubat has an amazing evolution. It is worth every minute that you spend trying to evolve it. While catching Pelipper's pre-evolution is a complete waste. I actually forgot its name while scripting the video, so you can tell how forgettable and useless it is. Also, encountering Pelipper and not being able to flee is probably one of the biggest pains in the world because, well, just take a look at its moveset. Are you looking at the moves this piece of trash bird gets at level 1? It has access to stab boosted Hydro Pump and Hurricane, which are both 101 base power moves in themselves. And later on, it also gets access to some pretty annoying moves like Supersonic, Payback, Roost, and the combination of Stockpile and Spit Up. Though pretty unlikely, if you ever get stuck in a battle with a Pelipper during a Nuzlocke run, then GG dude. The only actual use you'll ever have of Pelipper is to serve as an HM slave. Even aside from the annoying tactics Pelipper gets access to, its design is just really ugly. Why Game Freak would design an awkward shaped Pokemon with its toilet looking beak extended to its belly is a question that we'll probably never get an answer for. There's really nothing else to say. I hate Pelipper. Some other Generation 3 Pokemon I don't like are Volbeat and Illumise. I decided to group these two together for obvious reasons. I never saw a point in any of them, and I don't like their designs very much either. Another dishonorable mention goes to Dusclops because it just simply creeps me out, and that's enough reason for not liking it. On my top 10 worst Pokemon list, there was only one Sinnoh Pokemon, and it ended up coming at the number 3 spot. That Pokemon is Bronzong. While I don't hate Bronzong that much anymore, it still is my least favorite Pokemon from this generation. This is one of the few Pokemon that I dislike because of personal reasons and not because of the Pokemon itself. One of the main reasons why I don't like this Pokemon is because it's extremely annoying to battle against. I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to rip my hair off seeing a Bronzong show up in my Sinnoh playthroughs. Bronzong has an extremely annoying type combination of Steel and Psychic. If you know your type matchups, you'll know that Steel has a shitload of resistances. At the same time, this Pokemon's ground type weakness is completely negated due to this wonderful thing called Levitate. It also doesn't help that I always started the Sinnoh games with Infernape as my starter, who is also a fighting type. And Bronzong is a secondary Psychic type, so fighting type attacks will only do neutral damage to it. And back when I used to play Pokemon Platinum over and over again, I didn't know that I could effectively use Ghost and Dark type moves against it. But the Bronzong I hate in particular is Lucian's. This demonic little bitch has scarred me for life. Every time I sent my Infernape to use a fire type move, this bulky Bronzong would just take a hit like it was nothing and then destroy my precious Infernape with Earthquake. It really left a sour taste in my mouth, and while I love me some sour candy, I still hate Bronzong. Some of the other Sinnoh Pokemon I dislike are Purugly and Ambipom. I blame the anime for my hatred towards Purugly. And I hate Ambipom because this evolution does not do any justice to Apom, a Pokemon I love so dearly. I really don't know what happened here, and honestly, I do not want to. So just shove Ambipom aside so I never have to see it again. I don't even want to get into this one. Okay. Why does this stupid thing exist? Game Freak, I want answers. I know it sounds like I hate this Pokemon more than anything, and while I hate Muk a lot more than Conkeldurr, I think Conkeldurr is probably the single worst designed Pokemon ever. I absolutely love Generation 5 and most of its Pokemon. And I have to say most of because disgraceful Pokemon like Conkeldurr exist. I've talked about how much I hate Conkeldurr before, and I don't think my claims need any justification. Just look at this Pokemon. This Pokemon is physically disturbing to look at least for me. That's the reason I decided not to animate it because I cannot afford to keep staring at this abomination. Nah, I'm just kidding, obviously I animated it. Here at Pitch Black Sensei Productions, we never compensate on the quality of our videos. And the same applies to our website Pitch Black Motion, where you can get yourself intros, backgrounds, end cards, and so much more. Link in description. Wait, what were we talking about again? Oh, okay, yeah, I remember now. I get that it's a fighting type Pokemon and it's supposed to be buff as hell, but why oh why did its veins have to be popping so far out of its body? I mean, I got some popping veins on my arms too, but they look nice, okay? It's supposed to be a chick magnet, but that's just not how veins work. It looks so disgusting, and overall I hate looking at this thing. It's just a case of my hate for a Pokemon increasing greatly over time. I just hate it so much. Other really terrible Pokemon from the Unova region have got to be evolutions of the elemental monkeys who really... just get them out of here. I also really hate Emboar. Tepig is just really cute and it had so much potential for a cool evolution. But instead we get this, an awkward bipedal pig with flames on its face. I don't understand why they do this for every single fire starter, like it's not even funny at this point. Moving on to Generation 6, Pokemon X and Y are surely some of my favorite Pokemon games. They were the first Pokemon games I actually played on a 3DS and the graphics were just amazing. I used to play Pokemon games on my mom's laptop before or on extremely rare occasions on my friends' consoles because where I live, Pokemon wasn't really that cool. Anyway, enough of that. Moving on to the worst Pokemon from Kalos. At this point, will you really be surprised if I put Aromatisse on the spot? Cause I did. I mean, I really can't think of anyone who likes this Pokemon. Though I'm not that big of a fan of Spritzee anymore, it still is a pretty decent Pokemon. But if I got this piece of garbage after taking the time to train my Spritzee, I'd throw my 3DS out of the window in rage. Except I love my 3DS more than anything, so I guess not. Anyway, something I don't love at all is Aromatisse. Its design is really ugly. What grinds my gears is that this Pokemon had potential. Aromatisse to me is just a wasted opportunity since it's based on a Plague Doctor. There are so many cool Plague Doctor based fake Mon designs out there, 100% of which are better than Aromatisse. It's such a wasted opportunity. Overall, it looks really awkward and I just want to move on. Some other Pokemon from this generation that I dislike are Dragalge or Dragalge or whatever, I really don't care. I don't like this thing. I was so curious to see how a Dragon Poison Pokemon would do in the games, but when this thing was introduced, I was like, no thanks. Also, I really dislike Barbaracle because it's just so stupid. That's it. Moving on. Now the last Pokemon on this list coming from Generation 7 is Incineroar. As a lot of you will know, I absolutely love Litten. It is so cute, its colors are genius, and it's one of my favorite starter Pokemon of all time. When the starters of the Alola games were revealed, I was immediately in love with Litten. My mind was set on starting my Alola journey with Litten, and I was extremely excited to see what it evolved into. And to be very honest with you, I have never been as disappointed in my life as I was when I saw Incineroar. I absolutely love the fire type, and it's so annoying how I can only get myself to like 2 of the final starter evolutions of this type, those being Infernape and Typhlosion. I'm fine with Blaziken, but I don't love it, it's just there. I hate literally every other fully evolved fire starter, and it sucks because most of them have really amazing first stage pre-evolutions. And that is especially the case for Incineroar. Listen Game Freak, either stop making every fire starter evolution bipedal, or at least try to make the bipedal design work well. It does not work well for Incineroar, or any fire starter after Infernape. I know there are a lot of people out there who really like Incineroar, but I most definitely am not one of them. I challenge you, Aura Guardian, fight me. If you just look for alternative evolutions for Litten online, you will find so many designs that look so great and could have worked really well for this Pokemon. It could have turned into a quadruped fire lion, fire panther, or tiger, or leopard. There was just so much that could have been done. But instead, this is what they went with. And it doesn't help that my hate for Incineroar grows every time I see Litten and think about how much potential it had. In the end, it completely broke my heart to pick Rowlet as my starter, but I had no choice. Don't get me wrong, I really love Rowlet though. But the best pre-evolved Alola starter for me is without a doubt Litten. And the worst finally evolved Alola starter will always be Incineroar. Just f this thing. Other Alola Pokemon that I dislike are Bewear because I just don't like how pale and creepy it looks. I cannot get myself to like it. Its Pokédex entry also makes me sick, so I ain't signing up for this. And I also hate Bruxish because it looks too overdone and pretty stupid in my opinion. I know that's how it's meant to look, but it just does not appeal to me. So that's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, I recommend checking out the videos on the screen for more Pokemon content from yours truly. Make sure to check out my website where I make intros, end cards, video backgrounds and so much more for people like yourself. Leaving a like on the video and sharing it with a friend really helps the channel. But that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.